Skylar Montgomery Koning from our Markets Live team, who is with us this morning. Skylar, good to have your perspective on the programme. It feels like we started the week with the BOJ. To some degree, we're ending the week with the BOJ as well, with a Bloomberg scoop that sources are telling Bloomberg that the BOJ is ready to hike on the 18th, 19th of December, as long as nothing enormous happens between them, which still leaves kind of half a month. So we will see. But what is your evolving thinking around the BOJ?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think it's quite funny with the Bank of Japan. We tend to get the policy surprise before the actual interest rate announcement. So they like to well telegraph what they're planning to do. So I think it is very likely that we do get this hike. There were some questions around when it would come because of the fiscal going on there. But I think we knew the direction of policy very clearly. That means it's likely upside for JGB yields. It adds to kind of a number of reasons why JGBs are relatively unattractive within the kind of DM government bond complex. And it's not just because they're hiking as the rest of developed markets ease, but you also look at something like there's this big duration mismatch within the country. So as you raise policy rates, there's a worry that fiscal capacity gets deteriorated more quickly than elsewhere. You also have that a lower ceiling on where the policy rate can go because of that duration mismatch, and it's lower than other places. And so you still have a relatively unattractive yield. And then on top of that, you've got fiscal, which means growth will likely be higher. That's negative for bonds. At the same time, you have more issuance, and the Bank of Japan is reducing holdings. So it just means that you're still kind of relatively unattractive, and it adds to that bias.
Okay, can I just dovetail the BOJ and the Fed? I'm trying to wonder which one provides the bigger surprise. It feels like the BOJ is kind of taking the Fed's playbook of dropping lots of hints beforehand. And we've had one through Bloomberg today. I'm wondering if we get another one next week, just to kind of cement in, as you say, the idea that we are going to see this cut coming. Do they start signalling the idea as well that there could be more to come? And that's kind of wondering if the big surprise, that's kind of the ultimate big surprise here. Is that with the big surprise, or is the Fed going to provide the big surprise? What's price for the Fed at the moment? Kind of the Fed versus BOJ. Which one should we watch more? I
think definitely the Fed, not only because it has more spillovers to global markets, but I think we've moved pricing very dovish in the last couple of weeks. So if you look at something like 25 basis points being pretty much guaranteed in terms of pricing next week, Kevin Hassett bets rising that he will be the Fed chair, as well as your terminal rate at 3%. It's harder to get lower than that without significant economic deterioration, which means those are three factors that could surprise on the hawkish side as you go into this meeting. So I think that's where you should be watching, especially because you get a new SEP, so you get new dots, you get new projections. And I think what will be key, especially because you have a new Fed chair next year, and we're moving away from this idea that the Fed chair represents the consensus, is a more divided Federal Reserve.
Yeah. And on the subject of the US, PCE later, very delayed. Does the market try to look through this number?
I think it's going to largely be ignored because we've already shifted pricing dovish. This is an old print now. You're also having expectations that core PCE will come in close to 3%. That's a very high bar to surprise hawkishly. And as I said, there's not as much room to surprise on the dovish side. So likely look through it. And the big surprise we're looking for in terms of that hawkish shift will have to be the Fed next week and commentary there.
Okay, Skylar, thank you very much.
Okay, let's talk about, you can get more coverage from the MLive team. And next week's going to be huge. MLive you go on your Bloomberg terminal.